All right, bud. Well, let's hope the internet holds up for us this evening.
I know, right? Great
Yeah,
reel today.
did you like that?
Oh, I loved it.
So, believe it or not, right? Like, there's obviously some internal jokes and history on this whole topic. Three people have fucking weighed in, like people that the reel was made for have weighed in. I'm, yeah, man. Sometimes I really wonder about the fucking depth of people's just appreciation of reality. Like, how
Did
do you go
did
from
Donkey say anything?
no, he liked some comments and stuff. He didn't say anything. I know because he's always good for a laugh, right? On stuff like that. But yeah, I even fucking had people like because you'd think when you'd seen that, you're like, okay, if I was gonna weigh in like on the topic, I probably shouldn't at this point because this reel has been made for people like me. Nope. Like that went right through their eyes and right out the back of their head, and they still decided to come in hot. It
Uh,
fucking just blows my mind, dude.
too funny.
And I spend so much time going on and on about like just how this whole topic blows my mind. But like at the end of the day, I mean, we all know the program, right? Good advertising, bad advertising, it's all advertising, and we know how the algorithm works. So like bring it, I guess, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just really odd for me when the folks that we associate ourselves with, everybody's pretty welcoming. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of real heavy duty opinions in one way or another on things, especially maybe generically speaking, right? Like you've got some heavy thoughts and theories on a particular wheel out there. There's things like that, but it's not like you're pointing the finger at a particular person either though, right? Like this is just, hey, this is how I am. Like this is what I like, you know? Maybe I like fucking green jeans, not blue jeans. Like whatever. But yeah, I don't know. When you're especially in this car community, man. Like, you know what I mean? We're a pretty small group, pretty well, whatever. Maybe it's not, it's a big group, but it's like I've never ever understood why one would waste their time doing stuff like that. It just doesn't compute for me.
Well, funny enough, we know I have my auction up on the reef car, which is
Mhm.
so that'll be
I
ending
had it
on
sent
Saturday, which
I had a couple guys send it to me today. I'm like, uh, maybe you don't listen to all the things me and Chris do together. Like, but yeah, I
well,
did see it pop up a few times.
yeah, so I posted it up on my Facebook page, of course, and I didn't go plastering it everywhere. In fact, man, I really don't post anywhere but my own page these days. I dabbled in the asylum here and there and occasionally on like Foxbody Mafia and stuff, but I just, for the same reasons we spoke about last week, just kind of like pulled myself away. I'll post where I need to post and what I'm in control of. And a certain individual came back to life the last time I sold something on Bring a Trailer. Um,
Oh,
that that made for
would
an
I be?
interesting podcast. So you'll be able to put two and two
Oh,
together here.
yeah,
And
yeah.
same type of behavior. It was like people commented, and then it was like him commenting on their comments, throwing in his 2 cents. And, I was gonna, there was one, I would have left it, you know what I mean? Because it was just sort of like some bullshit and it was like, whatever. And then there was a comment of something like, "Oh, I'm going to get my homies to bid the car up or something." And not to say you can't do that, but it's not as easy as you would think because you're committing to a 5% as soon as you click the bid button, right? So no reserve. If you end up winning the car because you're bidding it up, you're going to get stuck paying 5%. So
Plus buying the car. Yeah.
yeah, so and you're committed to it. So anyways, I just blocked him, dude. I'm like, you know what? I have no, and it's the only person I've ever had to block,
Hmm.
but it was just one of those things like, you know what? Not on my page. Like, I'm already like contemplating, do I want to post shit on social media altogether? I'm like, I don't need this. And it's like,
No.
what value are you adding? And it was sort of like the comments. It's like, people look at pictures, but they don't watch the videos, that the videos explain what, you know, is seen in the pictures, so on and so
Yeah.
forth. And it's just like, if you're not a buyer, you're literally just a troll. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that went down. And I was sort of like, it sucks because like I know I got some pretty thick skin, but like it just gets to a point and it's just like, man, this is just nonsense. So anywho, that's not there. I'm curious to know how the car is gonna do. It started off strong the same way bring a trailer stuff does, right? First couple days. And it it ends on Barrett Jackson Scottsdale events, kind of. I think what Saturday's the big day, I think, for Scottsdale.
Oh
So
shit.
I
I
don't
didn't
know
even know
if
that was coming up.
yeah, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, we'll see how it does. I'm pretty confident that it'll do all right. So it's always fun to watch. Like I get part of me, even as the seller, you get that rush the same way that you would like if you're bidding. Like I remember it was pretty much a little over a year ago when I bought the white M5 on Bring a Trailer, and it was just like because every time you bid, it adds that 2 minutes extra. So
Right.
letting the other guy contemplate, do I want to throw more money at this? And then, you're waiting to like the last seconds to hope that you can get it before like it's gonna because like eBay, it was like when the auction was done, it was done. So like everyone was just like trying to get their shit in at the very last second. But this whole like adding 2 minute thing, like you can end up either losing out on something over the sake of a couple $100, which can sting, or you can end up way paying a lot more than you were planning on because you got caught up like in the it's almost like the slot machine, like one more pull.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it. It's like all on black. I'm gonna win this one.
Yeah. The psychology of that component of bring a trailer is really cunning, like that's a really neat feature that they threw in there. I've never been on anything in there. So, the first time I had heard about it was when you were telling me about it with the M5. And I immediately just went like, holy shit, whoever threw that into the ring when they were building this site probably got a big bonus because
Like
that's
I
genius.
wish it would be so cool if somehow you like had the fly on the wall view of everyone that's like electronically bidding from where they are. So that way, because like I remember I was at my commercial shop, Dale was in town, and I was working on stuff. I'm like, oh dude, I had an alarm set. I'm like, I gotta bid on this car. And it's just like, okay, that's my last bid. I'm like putting my phone down and over there and walking away. And then you see me like 30 seconds later rushing back over to my phone. No, no, no. I gotta like I'm willing to spend
Yeah.
more. I am. So
That's Well, as you say that, it makes me think like, maybe another neat little tweak to it would be as you get down to that last 15 minutes of the auction, you've I don't know if you'd want it to be like the ability to do this or if maybe it would just be like a forced thing that you had to do, but it's like, boom, everybody's live. Like this turns into kind of an electronic online Barrett Jackson where you're looking at everybody's faces, you're seeing the sweaty brows.
yeah,
That
like
would
let
be
like let's bring in the high bidders right now. Like or like if you actually made it mandatory,
yeah.
like almost like a validation process.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like you're real. We need to make sure that it's you and
Yeah.
and get them in there.
It'd make
But
for great content because,
oh,
like, you'd be sitting
fire.
there seeing people, like, going through their phones like, "Shit, do I gotta wire money? What do I gotta do here? Like, if I win this thing," it would just be a 15 minutes of pandemonium. like Bring a Trailer could be like the next biggest YouTube channel off of something like that,
Yeah, yeah, it could
you
be.
know?
Because, like, yeah, if you
I
think
would
about
sit there
it,
and watch it. 15 minutes of watching people shit their pants over, like, making this thing a reality, that'd be awesome.
well, and with the 2-minute thing, it's almost like it goes into overtime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, it could go on for, like, hours of people just, like, back and forth, just, like, stretching out that 2 minutes for everything that they can, and, yeah, making something pretty cool about it, because, like, that's what's so interesting to see about, like, Barrett Jackson is, like, or whatever, Meekum or any of that stuff is, you got your dude with the sunglasses, almost like poker face, like, and then you got like your Richard Rollin type fucking hooting and hollering with a beer in their
Yeah.
hand. And, it's just that whole crazy dynamic that it'd definitely be worth the watch.
Oh, yeah, and, like, 3 quarters of them got a good glow on, right? They've been drinking since 10. Like, it's a good model. One that, funny enough, for as many years as I've been watching it, I didn't have that appreciation of it in my younger years, and, the older you get and the more you know, and you talk to people that have been in stuff, and you start getting an idea of, like, what that scene would be like. Um, it would be interesting to experience that room. um, I wonder, like, just what it'd feel like to be in that room, especially on, like, some of those hotter items, because I
Yeah.
got a feeling, like, you could probably almost sense the tension, right? Especially when you got, because they bring in, like, the big swinger auctioneer, right? When you
Mhm.
got one that they know is gonna really go, and that guy's doing his thing, and you got, like, 3 or 4 of them that are just boom, 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 running
You
this
know
thing
what?
up.
I've got an idea. We're going to take it offline though, because I think I actually have a really good idea.
This is how good ideas form, just
Yeah.
throwing shit at a wall.
So, on another note, talking about auction cars, the FX Alex G Bugatti video that I sent you, the dude who said
Yeah,
like fuck all the time in the intro, and I'm like, how are you not getting demonetized? Okay.
yeah.
Um, so the Matt whatever, the British guy that rebuilds supercars all the time. I don't know if you've seen his channel.
I
Uh,
have, yeah.
yeah. So, he does like a lot of Copart auction, Rolls Royces, Lamborghinis, whatever, wrecked, flooded, whatever it might be. So, that video with Alex shows him reaching out to that Matt guy, like, fuck you, Bugatti. We'll make the parts if we have to make them. So, Matt actually dropped a video the other day of flying into Miami and tearing the Bugatti apart to
Yeah,
assess the damage and everything. And it's cool to watch. I think, like, even like if you're not a Bugatti person, I think that any car guy can appreciate like the fact that it's not just some bullshit put together car. Like when you really see what it takes for him to strip it down, and more importantly, when the car's up in the air and you see underneath, like there's like a drain plug for every fucking cylinder in the motor to change the
yeah.
oil. You know what I mean? Like it's just insane. But to find like all the cross-referenced airbags with Audi and
R
everything else with the part numbers that are like a fraction of the cost, and then I mean headlight replacement $150,000 and can't even go buy
Gee,
a windshield, from the dealer. The car has to be there and they have to do all these steps. Um, that's just crazy. And like there was a little bit of that, right? Because Alex showed um his video of when he was bidding trying to buy the car back from Copart, and Matt, not knowing Alex was bidding on his own car, had the footage of him bidding on it because he always wanted one. And then as soon as it hit like 1.6, which ended up being around 1.9 million, like with all the fees and everything, he was just like, I'm out. Like, yes, it's a $6 million car, but so it's just kind of cool to same thing, see these two people in their own scenarios with their own motives of why they wanted that car, and to see like what was going around, seeing the screen as they're watching, like bidder
yeah.
from Florida, bidder from the UK, bidder from wherever, So
Yeah,
neat stuff.
it is. After I watched, I don't know, maybe the first third or so of that Matt's video, and I was like, man, I'm like instantly curious at like, what's the backstory here? Like, who is this fella kind of thing, right? And so did a little recon myself. Have you done any of this? Am I telling you this for the first time, or have you looked him up?
You're actually telling me for the first time, because the only thing that he alluded to, I was rebuilding a car in a parking lot of a restaurant or
Yeah.
something 5 years ago, and now I am where I am, and I'm like, I think I picked the wrong fucking platform of vehicle to rebuild on YouTube.
Yeah, man, it's quite wild. So, he literally was. I got into some of his content there, and he tells the story in great detail. Like his girlfriend had an Audi TT, and I believe at her own fault had a wreck, and they wrote the car off, got the insurance money, bought the car back for next to nothing, like a couple £100 kind of thing, and didn't have a garage to do any of this in. And the craziest part of all this is no mechanical background. The guy was a BMX bike like
Yeah.
racer, not racer, but like, half pipe and concrete courses and stuff. And his dad apparently maybe worked as a mechanic, so I think he had pretty good resources there, but other than that, just yeah, decided to immerse himself in it. And that was like, I don't know, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Now he's tearing
Well,
apart a
it
Bugatti.
that's amazing, because, like, when he's pulling apart some of the interior stuff, he's getting at the airbags and then pulling panels off to get the seat belts, because I guess even the seat belts, when airbags go off, they, like, lock up. They got their own little blast module in them. And he's like, "There's no manual on how to take a Bugatti apart, but it's sorta like common sense of there's gonna be clips and there's gonna be some screws and hardware holding stuff, and it's just a matter of, like, being careful, being patient." But, like, generally speaking, everything goes together kinda the same way that any normal car does. And, I think that that's another interesting thing too, is like a lot of people are always so like, "Oh, I'd hate to work on a BMW or a Mercedes or a Ferrari or whatever." But like my experience working on BMW has actually always been quite a bit easier, like, and just more thought out in terms of like being able to access stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, evaporator core and Brittany's E90 BMW, having to take the console, the dash, the steering column, the like, it was next level Foxbody stuff. But like, with that said, like, you can drop motors out and everything pretty easily. And I think it was Matt got one of those Rolls Royce SUVs that was like a flood vehicle, and it corroded the main power lead to the starter. And the only way to get the starter out was to remove the motor from the chassis. And I remember his dad being in that video and kind of giving the assistance there on how to get it done. But
Right.
it just goes to show, right? Like a little bit of willingness to learn, or your curiosity of the cat that you talked about last week.
Yep.
And you know what I mean? Like, if you're willing, you'll learn how to do it. And especially if you do a couple different platforms of vehicles, and then that's like sort of when you really start to realize like a piston's a piston. I mean, a crankshaft's a crankshaft, a door sill's a door sill. Like, things are different, but at the same time, the foundation is very similar. So it's not like the wheel's been reinvented time and time again.
Yeah. I couldn't help but think while watching him that probably a lot of his willingness to bail into something that, if you were to replace him with someone that did have a bit of a mechanical background, is the person with the mechanical background has probably gotten themselves into a sticky situation that they weren't sure how to reverse out of. Whereas him, he's just like, whatever, right? Like, let's just figure this out. Like, his mentality was like, yours or mine or anyone listening that took apart a clock radio as a kid and couldn't get it back together, or it didn't work when you put it back together. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, fuck it, let's figure this out, right?
Yeah.
I think he's doing that just with $6 million cars, which is quite wild. But then the other side of this too is when you get into the electronic aspect of some of these newer cars that he's dealing with, like, I can't help but think that his, dare I say, like, ignorance is probably helping him out because, like, you know, you want to fuck around with a GT3 RS and the amount of sensors and bullshit that's going on there. Or like, there was another one I seen. I've kind of lost track of like what the latest and greatest Lambo is, but I think he had one, or starts with an R. Anyway, part hybrid, part whatever, right? Petroleum. And yeah, like, this thing's got all kinds of amalgamations of electronics and gas all in one that, has all been designed in Italy, which kind of leads me to my next point. It probably does him a lot of favors being in the UK like he is.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were trying to do what he's doing in the US, sure, you've got like somewhat dealer support, but all that shit's coming over on a boat. Whereas
Yeah.
he's on the same landmass that all that shit's being manufactured in, right? So he's kind of in a sweet spot for doing the supercar thing. And anyway, it just made me think more too. Like, I always, whenever I watch this stuff, I look at it from like our perspective, right? Like, as YouTubers, right? And I thought, like, obviously the car choices he's making is great. Like, even non-car people know what the fuck a Bugatti is, or a GT3 RS or whatever. Like, just the relatability is massive. But very neat how he went from like bare bones grassroots, working two jobs, and it was one of the two jobs is the parking lot he was trying to fix his girlfriend's Audi in,
Yeah.
with no mechanical background. And now here he is. Maybe not the guy, but he's kind of made a bit of a story for himself that he's the guy that ain't scared. And he seems to be able to figure a lot of shit out to this point in time. So why not give him a call?
And I think part of it too is just, well, the approach, his character, like he's built like a really good network. I think is a, you know what I mean? Like well mannered, like he doesn't like have that ego. He's sort of like,
Super
okay,
kind.
don't know what to do here, but we'll figure it out, or we'll find
Mhm.
someone that hopefully can help us. And like if you, let's say Alex's video didn't exist and Matt bought the car and won it at Copart, I'm curious to know if Bugatti would have been more helpful for Matt versus Alex
Maybe.
for the same things that we're talking about. Like, you got one guy, he literally, that was his second Bugatti, right? Like Alex got two and he was trying to buy a third one. Um, pretty arrogant, knowledgeable guy and everything else, but he's just got the more of, cocky, egotistic character about him. And then you kind of got Matt's approach where it's sort of like a little bit more humble, you know, ego off to the side.
Yeah.
And, so now at the same time, would Bugatti have just taken Matt for a ride, which was Alex's worry when Bugatti came back and said, "Oh yeah, send us the car, and our estimate of fixing it for 1.6 million, we'll fix it for 700,000." And then that
Mhm.
turned into pretty much like, no, Bugatti's just going to hold the car. He's never going to see it again, and
Yeah.
or God knows whatever fees they'll tack on after the fact. So, I mean, it's all about that balance, right? Like of
Yeah.
being able to be confidently cocky, I guess is
Yeah.
the word I used to use when I was younger.
Yeah. But, the other angle that I can't help but consider in all this too is, regardless of if they even fix whatever problems they're faced with, they've got like they're kind of double ending the deal in that, you've got the YouTube angle, which both of them have, well, Matt more so than Alex, but huge channels that are already well known and well established, and they pump the views out. I mean, that guy, he's like maybe not Mr. Beast level, but like he's pumping out 5, 6, 10 million views a video, right? So like even if this blows up and he's like, dude, the monocoque's fucked. We can't, or we need a new one or whatever. I get there's always a solution, I guess. So you have to consider that too. But like even if they get themselves completely backed into a corner, content. So it's like a
Well,
no lose scenario.
here's a conspiracy theory. Tinfoil hat time.
Mm.
Maybe we should have like a little sound effect thing, and we'll have some homemade tinfoil hats. Anytime we come up with something, we can put them on.
Okay.
What if, because we know what Whistling Diesel was supposed to do when he hit 10 million subs, right?
Yeah, he was buying something. Was it a Bugatti?
It's supposed to be Bugatti durability test.
Right.
So wouldn't that be interesting that if this car gets fixed well enough for then Whistling Diesel to get involved, you'd have three like pretty
Heavy
seriously
hitters.
influential YouTubers all in on that one car, and then Whistling Diesel just fucking destroys it again.
Right. Yeah, because sure, it's still considered to be like a very expensive, well sought after car, but like, you know, you are in a league when you're talking Bugatti money that like no one's buying a salvaged Bugatti. I mean, I could be wrong, but like, you know what I mean? If money is not an object to you, are you picking up a salvage titled Bugatti that some YouTuber fixed?
I don't think so. Like,
You know what I mean? Like, no, I'll
well,
wait for the next one. Thanks. Just build me my own.
well, you never know. Like, if it's purpose, that's where you got to ask if there was like a little bit of a strategy between Matt and Alex on this, because Matt comes out to say that Alex might sell him the car when it's done.
Yeah.
So Matt wants
Right.
to like do these mods, like redo the interior and stuff the way that he agreed upon. So that's kind of interesting. You never know, man. There's always a market. Like I told the Ferrari guys at the shop next to me that do all the manual swaps, I'm like, guys, like when are you getting a 458? And they're like, oh, we're actually starting to like look for one. I'm like, perfect. Buy a clapped out wrecked one. Because the thing with the 458 is they have DCT transmissions in them. They're not like the F1 style, which it's easy. That is a normal clutch setup. So all they need to do is hook up the slave cylinder, the line, do the linkage, and put the pedal in. And you know what I mean? You got a manual Ferrari. Not that easy because there's a lot of tuning, but I'm making it sound easy. Versus the DCT unit almost needs to get retrofitted or downgraded, if you will, to something that has your traditional clutch, single clutch setup so that you can actually do the whole manual thing on. And I'd be down for a wreck manual swap Ferrari as long as it's yellow.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the thing. I thought about this too. As I was educating myself on Matt's channel there, like he's kept quite a few of these cars as well, right? And like from that perspective, like I see the value in the car to him.
Mhm.
Now, I don't see the value as a buyer. And I know I'm weird when it comes to that type of stuff, like talking about my car being whatever, non-priceable, right? Like silly because it means so much to me. I could almost see me overlooking the fact that it's a salvage titled car because I brought it
But
back to life. And
are you good if it were you that bought, like, knowing, let's say you wanted a Bugatti, you
yeah,
paid the 2 million for it, you fixed it for 1 million. and now you're driving Gary's fixed Bugatti for 3 versus paying 6 for one. Is that
Yep.
okay?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with it. Like, then I see the value in the car, to me,
Hmm.
but realistically, I don't see it as a smart business move because I can't wrap my head around the value to another individual that would want to buy that. Unless you think like my ability to rebuild a Bugatti is as good, if not better, than Bugatti themselves.
Well, you never know, man. We see that everybody's just human in this world, and you know,
Yeah, like when
we
you
want to
start
think
seeing
the best
people,
in some people, and then you see the realities of things sometimes, and you're just actually there is a company that we would both know that you would think runs a little bit differently than what we've seen. And
right?
you know what I mean? Like it's just, reality is reality. It's like
Well,
even like if you came to, I don't know, it's like whenever somebody sees my shop on YouTube and then they show up in person, it's always like, oh, it looks bigger on TV. It's like, yeah, the
right.
camera adds 10 pounds, like adds 1,000 square feet. But
Ho- Hopefully that's the case for all my dick pics to my wife too. Um, could deal with a couple more pounds on her. But I mean, where I'm going with this, and this is in reference directly to that video, like as they're pulling shredded pieces of carbon fiber, like kind of strut towery type shit apart. And he's like, oh, we can make that out of aluminum, or oh, like he's just kind of throwing this shit out of his ass. And I'm like, what? Fuck are you talking about? Like, obviously there's a reason it was carbon in the first place. But now again, I'm thinking about this from a buyer's perspective. I'm not thinking about it from my perspective because I would probably look at it the same way. Like, okay, if we can't get that remade, right, by our carbon guy, then we got to think of something else. But yeah, I don't know. For me, there's not really a bridge that connects the person that's doing the work, that owner of that car, especially knowing what it was capable of and or priced at and all that stuff off the showroom floor, to like now you've got this ragtag thing, right? That's all show and not the goal that it was designed to have, because whatever, we pulled this carbon piece off and we ran a chunk of plywood in there and whatever, it should work kind of thing. That I don't have a bridge that connects those two land masses.
fair enough. Well, I guess we'll see, man, and what the outcome is. Like maybe like you said, you have that much money, things are completely different. I guess in the Fox body world or analogy, if you will sort of be like this Rec 93 Cobra and putting that back together. And if that just becomes something that's of value to me and good for me and no fucks to anybody else, or just makes for
Well,
good content or whatever else, you know what I mean? So,
but see, buddy, for me, there's a difference because we're talking like just old school, or what's now kind of considered old school American muscle when we're talking Fox bodies, right? Like these things are stamped steel, whatever. There's carbon fiber didn't exist. Or if it did, we didn't know about it at the time. You know what I mean? It was like dark project shit. Um, that's different, you know? Like if you're making your own strut tower brace or whatever, right? As long as it's not wood, then okay. Like that's, we're customizers of these cars. They're the whatever, in our sense, like the world's most customized car ever. Um that's different. Like we're talking the utmost echelon of fucking automotive cars here, like Bugatti.
well, man, carbon fiber is just glorified fiberglass.
I get that. Yeah. But
Like
I
it
mean,
really is. Like in fact, there's that email address. They're like, oh, if anybody can help in this restoration, reach out. So My good friend back in Canada. I don't know if you met Joel when you were there. So he does boats now, but when he first started off, he was doing like a lot of fiberglass. Like he started his whatever career in the Fast and Furious, like right in the heart of that era. So it was all he was doing body and paint, all these crazy wide body kits, fiberglass kits like that, all that Dominator looking fucking wide body Foxbody shit that existed for like CRXs and Civics and all that stuff. Like he was doing all that stuff, and then it turned into working on boats and then dealing with gel coat and obviously everything, all like hull restructuring and everything else. So he redid all the Corvette, which is a fiberglass body, and I'd put his fiberglass work up against anybody, which in turn, carbon fiber very similar if you got the budget to pay for it. So like, man, I should throw him in the mix and reach out and you know what I mean? Just whatever it is. At Bugatti's rates, it's just like charge them $500 an hour, pay for your trip, whatever,
See,
and reconstruct the carbon fibre.
right. I wherever I picked this up from, it was a long time ago, so I could have things cross-threaded now, but I remember watching a video on Koenigsegg talking about how they build their own carbon fiber bits and pieces, including like their carbon fiber wheels and stuff. And if I remember right, like to your point, yes, the process is very similar to fiberglassing. However, there's this whole like vacuum process that needs to also take place. Very specific heats and massive pressures to make this shit all do what it needs to do. I
So what
mean,
he would have to do, the approach would be is he'd have to fix what's there, most likely just use fiberglass, get that whole front clip assembly because it all kind of came off as one, and I think like the bumper, like they took it off as one, but I think it is multiple pieces. So
right.
he'd have to fix everything, take a mold of it, and then off the molds. Like, so here's the crazy thing. At the end of the day, he'd be able to mass produce all these things, which would probably be a no, like, so that's sort of like, does Bugatti take the Ferrari approach, knowing that you made a mold to be able to replicate a part that shouldn't be made? Because like
But how many
once you have that part, like finding a facility that can do the carbon process, um
right.
that wouldn't be impossible. It's just getting everything in check and getting it as straight and that mold as precise as need be as possible. But now I guess the question is how perfect are some of those molds and everything? Like, are there body work in those cars? Like, I'd be curious to know, like, if you actually started blocking those bodies down, like through the
how
paint.
straight they are.
Yeah, like what really is living under there? Because normal, like carbon's got what you call it, like the
The weave.
no, the top coat, um, not gel coat, like epoxy or the resin, right?
Yeah.
That's usually the clear coating that makes everything shiny, but that's never truly straight. So you usually end up having to like block that out. So I'm actually now kind of curious on what those
Well,
panels look like.
I can't help but think like with this thing being Bugatti, like one of the world's most expensive cars, this thing's gotta be straight as an arrow, you know? Um, so couple things on that, like going back to the comment that was made about like, oh, if we can't get this remade, we'll just do aluminum or whatever. I'm not saying this is the case, but I can't help but think it may be that like, as they're throwing this thing together over a 45-minute episode, what you actually see, which is just that end product, right? Which we've all seen like air quote nice cars drive by. Don't put it on a hoist. Don't open the hood. Don't open the doors. You know what I mean? Like this thing's a real fucking wreck under its outer shell.
It's a SEMA
Um,
build.
Totally, right? All show, no go. because that's what I keep going back to in my head is like anything. I kind of immersed myself when that Bugatti, whatever the first one was it the Chiron? Whatever the first one was that, would the tires, it would run out of gas before the tires exploded. Like the fucking stats on that car is just staggering, right? And then you're just gonna fucking throw some hand tools to a couple of YouTubers and go, fix her up, right? Like, I don't know. Fuck.
Well, maybe you're onto something. Maybe that's why he keeps all his stuff, because it's like, you know what? It's fixed to the best
Of
comfort
his ability.
level that he needs for himself. You know what I
Right.
mean? And he can live with whatever corners he cut or decisions that he made in terms of the approach of repairing it.
It's true because, like, you and I talk about this. I'm sure we've done it online. We've definitely done it off. Like, what we are willing to do to our own shit or put up with or whatever is not what you would do to someone else's car, right? Um, and we've gotten way better since we were teenagers, I'm sure. But like so maybe that there's that aspect to it too. Um, but I guess this is the draw with it, right? Is you're literally looking at one guy that looks like a skateboarder or BMXer, another guy that's just kind of like making money on stock trading currency or whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
And they're going to cut themselves loose with a Home Depot socket set and fix a car that they've done a really good job of building a story around the fact that like Bugatti's not happy about this, right? That
Yeah.
anyone is loosening screws and nuts on this car. So they got all the right ingredients, right? And who knows, I could be wrong. I actually kind of hope I am. Um Not that I know, what should be done on a Bugatti and what shouldn't, but like you said earlier about like just knowing the bare bones of things, if I ever got the opportunity to like take a look at this final project, um, maybe a guy could be like, whoa, 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 this looks a little iffy right here, right?
Yeah.
And again, dude, going back to those like mind-boggling stats that car has, it's like, are you going to go and try to run this thing out of fuel on a ring, with your plywood strut brace that you built? Like, I don't know. She
Uh,
might just be a show car after that, right?
yeah.
Close the hood and don't look.
Uh, well, hey, to your point of, the way we work on our own stuff. So I have started my Advent calendar approach to the timing cover.
I seen some of your posts. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the fill in here.
So yeah, day one, I drained the radiator, and I was
Ooh,
like, whatever. So I just kicked the bucket underneath, got that going. And then the
stock
second
rad in
day,
that car? No,
what's that?
you got an aftermarket rad in that car.
Yeah, it's got a Mishimoto and like the old Taurus fan setup. And so it was pretty easy, obviously, to drain that and pull that out. And then I'm like, looking at like, man, I can't just do one bolt. I'm like, let me just see how long it takes before I break a bolt or like something doesn't want to move, because I hadn't even sprayed any, penetrating oil or anything on anything at this point. So, um, yeah, radiator comes out, and kind of the first thing was grabbing, the bolts that hold the AC compressor and the bracket off the water pump there. So I moved the AC compressor out of the way, and I'm going after the two bolts that hold the power steering pump into the bracket that goes to the head. So the one's like
Yep.
that really long stud that's got a nut on it. So the nut came off, no problem. And then the other one's a really long bolt that doesn't actually thread into the head. It threads into that bracket that bolts onto the head.
Right.
So I got like a 3/8 ratchet on it. I'm like, ooh, that's tight, like really tight. And I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the stud go, and that one, the stud goes like through that bracket and into the head, right? Just kind of the bracket slides on it. And I kind of see heat marks on that stud looking one. And then it all started coming back to me. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this was where Jordan decided to like abort the operation because like he didn't want to have to use too much heat, possibly fuck up the gasket. But then I'm like, none of this, like that stuff can technically stay on. You just need to get the bracket off and then you can leave the water pump or whatever. But so I go and I grab a half-inch small bar, and it's like, and I'm like, that one's. And at this point, I'm like, you know what? It goes into the bracket. I don't care if I break this one because it's
Yeah.
actually not gonna whatever. I'll slide the pump off the stud or whatever, and then just replace unbolt the bracket from the head and replace the bracket. So I get the big bar, and it's like crack. And I'm like, oh, like it starts spinning, and I'm like, oh, I actually thinking it like spins out maybe half an inch, and then it's not moving anymore. So I had to get like the wrench on the back to kind of like pull. So it broke
Yeah.
off inside the bracket.
Bracket.
Yeah.
Oh
And
shit.
you think like that cast aluminum whatever on that steel bolt and all the shit that fall. I'm like, there is no hope in hell. Like something would have broke. Um,
Yeah.
but I left it there, and of course, like I got the bucket with the coolant still down on the bottom because when I go to take the water pump off, I know it's going to leak. But dropping sockets, drop the fucking ratchet right into the bucket. You know how that
Oh, of
goes. It's
course.
just like,
Yep.
how many times are you going to do that? But you're going to keep the bucket there anyways because you don't think you're going to do it again.
Yeah.
So whatever, I broke the bolt, then I spray, my Seymour penetrating lube on everything, and then yesterday it came and dude, every single bolt just fucking popped out normal. Like
Really?
one was like a little dicey, but everything came out fine. So the biggest challenge was actually an underdrive crank pulley, which I do not remember installing. So maybe the middleman did, or maybe I just did install it and I don't remember. Normally, you get Allen bolts because those factory pulley bolts, you can't get a socket because they touch the wall of the pulley because the pulley is so
Yep.
small. Well, those bolts were on there. Do you think I could get a fucking socket on any one of them? I'm like, what magician put these fucking on? So I'm out
Yeah.
with the flappy disc on like a 9/16 socket, making a shallow walled socket. And after about 3 attempts at, and I got a like a short socket, and like I had to do the whole body because like you couldn't just do the end because the body
Right.
would was touching the wall of the pulley. So yeah, I managed to get all those out, and then I was like, all right, yeah, no, I'm happy. And I didn't have my balancer puller here; it was at the shop, so I brought that home with me tonight. And but yeah, so like once that balancer's off and get the two bolts out from underneath the oil pan, then
Oh,
everything should be fine.
right. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, why is he pulling the crank pulley off? But right, this whole operation is just so you can get to the timing cover.
Yeah,
I'm think I was thinking just doing water pump. Right, right, right. Yeah, the timing cover is the issue.
yeah.
Okay, but the water pump, you think maybe was never changed either?
Um, I think it had been changed, to be honest. Like, and even the hardware, I was surprised. Like, I didn't have any of those like half rotten style bolts. So I'm almost thinking that I probably did it when I did the Cobra intakes because I would
Mm,
have had like enough apart at that point and, probably thought, let me get this done,
right.
which was a good call. Just, back then, this would have been like, I don't know, 2004, 2005, so 20 years ago. Um, the timing cover gasket there was no issue then, but obviously there is now. So yes, now I got the decision of, do I just do the gasket, leave it alone? Do I bolt the gear drive on? That's been sitting waiting for the car forever, or do I do the B cam and the gear drive and the timing cover gasket.
Any indication as to which direction you're thinking of going, or it's going to be a game time decision?
You know what? I think I've never done a cam in the car, and the radiator is out. I don't, maybe you know, is there enough room to do it with the AC condenser in the front, or does the AC condenser have to be out as well?
Yeah, I think you got to pull that out too to get
So
enough
that'll be
length.
the deciding factor because the AC is full and the AC works.
No sense horsing around with that. Yeah.
So maybe just gear drive and leave all alone. Like, part of me is thinking like the exhaust sounds so unique on that car anyways. I have no intention in trying to fuck with the exhaust. And it's like, well, what am I really going to achieve by adding the B cam when the exhaust already sounds pretty fucking cool as is? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably just one of those things where like you got the cam sitting there calling your name, the chant, like where else are you going to use it? Um, Stock cam in that car too, right?
Yeah.
So like, why not change that? Um, well, it'd be original lifters too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you could be opening up a can of worms, buddy.
I
Do you
think
throw a
just,
set of lifters in it too? And
I think I just do the, bolt the gear drive on it, get a little bit of a cool sound from the front, got a cool sound out the back, no more leaks, and be done with it.
yeah, I know because like, well, for you, right now with everything you got going on, it's like, do you really need yourself, you know, a couple of home projects too?
No.
You know what I
No,
mean?
I
It's like,
like I think it would go reasonably okay. So my approach would actually be to not pull the lifters out. So I got the all thread with the magnets on the end and the wing nuts, so you can just take your rockers off, pull the push rods out, and just throw that down and hold all your lifters up.
right,
So that way you don't have to be so it'd be out of sight, out of mind, other than if there's some interesting markings on the cam lobes when it comes out. But like I said, I could just close my eyes and just like throw it in the trash. Um, so yeah, no, I think I'm just gonna do the gear drive. I'm gonna pull all the smog shit off it because all of it's on there. Because back in the
oh
day,
wow,
we actually had annual emission testing back then. So the yeah, pollution pumps on there, EGR, all the lovely fucking hoses and shit on the passenger side. So I'll rip all
solenoids,
that off. Yeah.
right? So does it have an off-road H on it?
It's got, I think it's a factory H that's punched
Ah,
or something. You know what? I'm gonna have to see when I get it up in the air. I don't even remember, to be honest. So I remember being able to pass them. So the biggest thing is like you had to pass a visual inspection. So people wouldn't know, like they wouldn't take a pyrometer and check like your heat levels pre and post cat. They just needed to see that there was cats there and that like your EGR is there and all that other shit, smog pump. But like as long as you blew the numbers, then you were fine.
hmm,
So like for instance, an E36 BMW back in the day with no cats would still pass with no cat in it. And I think I had one Foxbody that gave me issues, and then I did the old like uh quart of methyl hydrate in the tank and like half a tank of fuel. And that got it to pass and I was on my way.
hmm, interesting. All these silly money grabs out there, hey, like holy
Yeah.
shit. So is that still in effect? Like, is there still smog tests up there?
No, they scrapped all that. So that's all gone. Now, with that said, the EPA equivalent of Canada, um, they can still pull you over. And technically, if you do not have your original emission equipment installed, you can get a fine.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, it's kind of like this is way more prevalent in the smaller towns. Um, it's typically a farm related thing, or at least where I grew up, it was, well, less farm, but more logging and stuff. Dyed fuel, right?
Mm.
And quite honestly, I don't think I ever knew anyone personally that had ever had their tank dipped. It was always just like rumors, like horror
Yeah.
stories of people that had it done.
Well, can you even
That
dip a tank now? Like, unless it's like a piggyback tank, like in the back or whatever, but like you can't just go through a filler neck anymore.
well, in the piggyback tank, I mean, I guess if they dipped that and it was purple, then they'd ask more questions. But like in theory,
That's for
anyone
my
running,
equipment.
that's just it. The tidy tanks for the equipment, right? Um, so yeah, I don't know. That is such a silly thing too, right? It's like all this is a dye that adding the dye, which I'm sure it's minuscule, but it's an added cost. The dye makes the fuel cheaper to buy, right? Like somebody help me make sense of this. You know what I mean? Fuck. So many, like when you look at these things from a logical perspective, they make no logical sense whatsoever, you know?
No.
And why can't you run it on the road? Because it doesn't have the road tax. It all boils down to just money grab tax bullshit, is all it is, you know? But sorry to go back to your point, like diesel would be easier, right? Because we're talking big filler necks. You could
Mm.
run whatever type of, I don't know what it is. Must be like some sort of a plastic deal with some sort of like cotton swab on the end of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't even know what the look it looks like, but it was always just horror stories that everybody had. But then, you ask them like, "You ever had your tank dip?" Nope. Huh. Interesting, right? Um, so yeah, I don't even know if they do that type of stuff anymore. But I guess like anything, if you're raising a ruckus and they want to make an example out of you, they're gonna do everything in their power to throw all of it at you, right?
Yeah.
So, because yeah, like Cali's one of the ones that still has a lot of this shit in place, right? Um, I'm sure there's a few other states, but like for the most part, I think everybody's just gone like, which is weird because in so many other ways, we've like convoluted and ramped all of the emissions related stuff, right? And I mean, I don't know. I've got my own thoughts on it, right? Um, they do, my thoughts do line up with the things that I like to do and the things I like to drive and, you know, that whole side of things. But like, I don't know. I've listened to the both sides of the story and, you know, I still settle out on the one because the side that I'm on, like the trees and the flowers and the plants and the whatever, like it's their food that
Yeah.
they eat. And I mean, I've heard pretty intelligent people say that we're actually at a deficit in carbon, whatever, not production, but you know what I mean? Like carbon emissions. Like we could, if we made more, we would have healthier, stronger, taller plants, trees, whatever.
Huh.
Like if we get any lower, we're going to kill the shit.
Well, it's sort of like conversation we had last week, right? About the whole evolution of all this stuff where we're doing so much better, or at least supposedly we are. But then like why does the goalpost keep moving with it?
Yeah. I mean, I think the most obvious answer is because there's people out there that make money off of it, you know?
Yeah.
It all boils down to cash grabs. Um, Anytime, like any of the places that I mean, well, I live in one of them currently where we're just red tape past your forehead, to get anything done or everything needs a survey and everything needs this. And like at a very basic level, I think even the most hard-nosed people that disagree with this stuff would say, listen, like at a basic level, we need checks and balances. We all agree upon that. But like, do we need them to the point that we're like hindering the ability to say build a building or, you know, encourage a new business to come to our province and, you know, bring jobs and more economical growth? Like the way I explained it to my wife, this was a conversation we had back when I was working in the oil field. And we were talking about the oil sands way up in northern Alberta that take a lot of heat in the news. They actually haven't been in the news much that I've seen recently, but for a while there, they were taking some pretty big heat. Like you had Hollywood stars taking their private jets up there, which is ironic that they would fly up there on a fucking dino fuel burning jet, right? But nonetheless, they were running around squawking about the oil sands. And I guess like anything, there is a byproduct, right? Just like, I don't know, you can go and buy like organic grown whatever, but it's probably going to come in like a paper bag and a tree had to be killed to make the paper bag. You know what I mean? There's always a downfall to everything. It's just, I think, about limiting the downfalls, right? So anyway, um, the topic of discussion was the oil sands, and they have these tailings ponds, right? And the thing that they usually take the most heat for is you have like migrational birds that come through and they look down and go, perfect landing spot, right? And they hit this tailing pond and it's full of hydrocarbons and whatever. And they might take the odd sip of water, their tits up or their feet up, right? Floating upside down. So anyway, but they do everything other than the tailings pond, which is the byproduct of how they produce the oil from the oil sands. They do everything and anything in their power to try to make this like a sustainable development of resources. So anyway, I was explaining to the wife, I'm like, I could kind of see her eyes glazing a little bit and not really understanding where I was going with this. So I said, imagine for some really odd reason that we were locked in our house and the water, you know, we only had so much water, but it was going to end. So therefore, our toilets are only going to flush for a certain amount of weeks, and then we're going to have, and then we can just shit on top of shit. But at some point, we're not going to be able to close the lid anymore. We're going to have to pick a corner of the house to shit in, right? Like it's just the obvious thing that's going to have to happen. Where do you want to shit? Probably not your bedroom, right? Maybe the corner of the basement or something. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. Well, that's the tailings ponds. You know what I mean? Like you have to do something with this if we all want to have the products that come from these petroleum extractions and stuff, right? There has to be a byproduct. It's just all about how you manage it and stuff. And like, not that I want to see ducks going feet up in ponds, but like, if that's the worst that happens, we lose a handful of ducks every year, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. Maybe I apply too much logic to it, but I don't know if enough people think about things like that, right? Yeah, I think they just think that the whole world can just run on sunshine and rainbows, you know?
Well, there's always going to be some casualties no matter how you look at it. So,
100%.
so
Yeah.
it's just got to weigh out, well, for the greater good, as they say.
Well, that's just it. And the hypocritical nature of so many of these people that like to squawk about this stuff, right? It's like, well, like I said, Jane Fonda shows up in a private jet, gets on a fucking helicopter to go and fly up and see the oil sands tailings ponds, right? Like, I know that helicopter. I'm not aware of a helicopter that runs on solar or fucking wind power. You know what I mean? Like, so, right?
Yeah.
Like those guys, what they're down there doing, risking their lives to do it, got you the fuel for your jet and your fucking helicopter. Because the other one that was involved in this was Leonardo DiCaprio. And you know, depending on how deep you look, that guy's got a yacht that you could put a small town on. I know that thing ain't running on solar. You know?
Yeah. No, it's true, man. Well, it's like whatever. Do as I say, not as I do, right?
100%. Actually, I'm going to leave names out of this story, but here's one for you actually in regards to that individual, Mr. DiCaprio. So I know a person that in a roundabout way kind of worked for him. And he was, you know, around doing a movie or whatever. And in his off time or his downtime, he has a thing for supermodels. And he would literally leave his private jet running on the tarmac at all times, going back and forth to LA or New York and picking up various supermodels for him to just do like remember that website Hot or Not, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. No, he'd literally sit in the living room as these supermodels got paraded in and go, yep, nope, yep, yep, nope. And all the nopes went back to the jet that was sitting there idling and went back to their respective places, right? That guy is one of the ones squawking and barking about oil production.
I thought you were gonna say he's in some sort of Diddy tapes or something.
Well, yeah, that's probably a whole nother story, whole nother can of worms. But yeah, it's just so hypocritical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all of us low life minions are expected to, you know, do all these things so that they can bitch and complain about it, but do whatever they want. Like you said, do as I say, not as I do. But yeah, all of us get hosed with taxes and carbon fuel taxes and all this shit, right? It's like, I don't know. We're living in the upside down world, buddy.
Yeah, sure seems that way.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of upside down, have you watched any of this series, Stranger Things?
No. I know your kids have been. Or you and the kids, I should say.
Oh, was I telling you a bit about this then? Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if I did. Man, quick little funny story about this. So, my little Sadie, like, there's no way she's getting into this at all, right? Like, this kid's got way too strong of an imagination, and she knows it to the point where, like, she'll go to bed, and if she's got to like come out of bed, go for a pee, grab a glass of water, whatever, she comes out with like her ears plugged so she can't even hear what might be going on the TV. She knows herself that well. So anyway, but I figured the other two, you know, 13, 15, like we were watching stupid, scary shit. You know what I mean? Friday the 13th at that age and
Yeah.
whatever else. I'm like, they'll be fine. Anyway, there are in the first season, there's a couple parts where like, you know, you probably jump a bit or get some goosebumps going, right? And it's pretty good filming. Um, well, at one point, I look over at Abby, and the poor shit, she's got both hands over her eyes, and she's just doing the one eye peek through the fingers, right? Like kind of doing the scissor fingers. I'm like,
Oh,
you're not doing that, are you? She's like, Dad, it's a scary part, you know? Like, it was so funny, man. Anyway, I've whatever stepped away from it and the kids are carrying on with it. But there's a whole thing in that show about the upside down, which is this whole other like kind of whatever horroristic upside down world dimension kind of thing. And so anyway, anytime I think about the world being upside down, I think, yeah, sometimes I wonder if we are kind of existing in different dimensions, various people, definitely different realities.
yeah. No, there's definitely, well, that's a whole other, that's like some Scream Puff stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of is. I know he always sends me some stuff to chew on, right? When he's whatever, maybe waiting at a traffic light or sitting at a call, flipping through the various dark corners of the earth of online social media that he does. I haven't seen much from him lately, but he was telling us that he's helping his boy out and kind of doing the dad coach thing, right? So because he
Well, I'm
hasn't been
curious.
posting as much either.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the same thing, that he's kinda gone silent after taunting us with this whole, "Oh, what would it take to maybe send a car over to the mainland and hit up a couple
Yeah,
shows this year?" So, maybe we'll have to reach out and give him hell.
I know, right? Yeah, Tom and I were well, we leaned in on him on a group text and yeah, we told him we were gonna just beat the shit out of him with text after text until he commits. But we haven't done a very good job of following up on that. But we actually had some friends from here that went over to Hawaii between Christmas and New Year's, or maybe they were there for New Year's. And anyway, I know Joe's always said that it's pretty expensive to exist in Hawaii there. But granted, he's in it on the daily. So like even though it's expensive, you just I don't know, everything is and it kind of starts to blur, I'm sure. I know that's what I think about us around here. But anyway, my friends that were over there, they're like, it is like astronomically expensive.
Hmm,
So, and being that, like I said, we consider things to be expensive here, they were like, it's like 20 to like 30% more expensive than what we're used to here. And then as a Canadian, you got the exchange to factor in too. They're like, it's like pretty much to a point now where it's just you don't go. Like it's unsustainable to even think you want to go there.
really?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I know, right? Like fuck. And I mean, I guess this would maybe be a question for Joe, but like, do people make that much more money? Like how can that be long term sustainable? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder what the Hawaii minimum wage is.
Yeah, I guess
'Cause,
maybe
like,
that would indicate.
I know that, like, Texas, it's not very much. It's under $10 an hour, but, like, nobody actually makes minimum wage.
Right.
So, let's see here. Oh, it says Hawaii's minimum wage is 16 an hour.
Hmm.
And January 1st, 2026, part of a scheduled increase to 18, which is significantly higher than the federal minimum wage in designing support for families.
Does it say what like the federal kind of bar is? It's probably right in around that 10 mark, hey?
Holy shit. So it was $10.10 an hour in 2018.
Wow.
So like there's been a lot of adjustments there to reflect that. So like I'm just thinking, it's sort of like here where you go to Bucky's or Whataburger and I think they're like 18, $19 an hour, something insane. So um yeah, that's really not that bad. So I guess if you just kind of reverse engineered that accordingly, right? Like if you think
Right.
that it should only be 12 an hour, then that means that things can be that 20, 30% more expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I mean, I don't know at minimum wage, unless you're living in a place that's like very, very economical to live. I don't know how minimum wage gets you by anymore.
You'd have to be
Like,
like four minimum wage people in a one bedroom.
yeah. Or living at home, right? And
Yeah.
not paying rent. Because yeah, I've heard that explained to me of like minimum wage and why I think we were able to like kind of make a go of things back when it was like whatever, 5, 6, $7 is yeah, we were at home. And like in theory, those like minimum wage jobs are more or less designed for kids, or maybe somebody that's,
Non-skilled.
well, yeah, right. Um, and so that makes sense, right? But then when you've got these drastic differences, this kind of gets into the whole immigration side of things, right? But you got people that come from a place that they make 50 cents a day or whatever, and 15.50 an hour looks real good until you
Yeah.
realize how expensive it is to exist there, right? Like, it's all kind of relative. Um, I know that was a stat that I heard recently here about Canada, is that however many people have come here, it's something silly like 53% pretty much within a month's time turn and get out because they're like, it's too expensive to live here.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's one way to help control immigration, I guess.
Yeah. Just make it so expensive you can't afford to live there.
Oh,
Yeah. That, and hopefully you can handle the cold. Which, dude, here's something for you. We were like 65 degrees here today.
that's pretty good.
January
We were
50.
65 here.
Yeah. It has been the wildest winter. Like, I know I've always said that we get pretty mild winters here, but this is like a whole nother level of that.
Huh.
Like, this would,
Meanwhile, people like the Northeast is getting trashed.
in winter right now.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I don't know. It must be something going on the western side of things here. It's been, I know this gets down into like Washington, Idaho and stuff too. Like, ski hills are like, 50% or 60% of the runs open. And the only reason they can probably open the ones they do is because they're making snow. Like, they're just not getting any snow.
Huh.
Yeah. We have had two, I don't even know if I'd call them skiffs, like, didn't shovel. You know what I mean? Just like a coughing of snow, and it was gone in the same day.
So you could have been driving your car this whole time.
Other than they, like, always pump way more gravel than they need on the roads. Like, that's about the only, but funny enough, I seen a guy today driving an NSX, nice clean red one.
Huh. Well, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I've seen guys out on bikes,
Hmm.
which, that, as you know, as being a bit of a bike rider yourself, uh, gravel and bikes are a no-no, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they do not work well together.
No, no. Even just like, that really fine sand. I mean, you may as well be
Well,
walking on marbles.
I was used to that in Dubai, right? Because you get like the
Oh,
sand
yeah.
drifts. So it was just one of those things, just like, yeah, let off the throttle and just straight.
Yeah. Did you have that Repsol bike in Dubai?
So not this specific one. Um, I had I had a ZX6 over there, and then I got a 2013 Repsol. Like, same, just the next fairing update. Gauge cluster was a little different. And man, I miss that bike. Like, I know that they look the same, especially like with all the orange and white, black and shit. But I had it had quick shifter and all that other stuff on it, like just some really nice aftermarket add-ons about it. That Yeah, no, it was really nice, and I missed it so much. Like, when we moved to Canada, that's where I found this one. And I'm like, well, it's pretty similar, so I'll go for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, did that thing come over like in the back of your Viper truck, or how would it have gotten over? But you left
Uh,
that one there.
yeah, yeah. So I sold it before we left, and then yeah. Funny enough, I've actually been cruising the Viper truck around all week, and I sent a picture to the individual that I bought it off of back end of 2011. And he's like, well, let me know if you'd ever want to sell it.
Oh.
So we've actually had like a little bit of an exchange going. I'm like, man, like the reality is I just literally had that truck across the street in Ruben's shop for a year, out of sight, out of mind. And but now that I'm driving it around, I'm like, I don't know if I'm like
Would I miss it? Wouldn't I
ready.
miss it?
Yeah, like I'm sure if it was gone, I'd be okay. But it's like knowing that like it's here and I'm enjoying it. I don't know. So yeah, I sort of put a because I don't want to be unreasonable about the price either. So I sort of did the same approach as I did with my white coupe. I just said, listen, dude, I'm like, I'll give you your money back that I paid you for it back in 2011. Or sorry, you got to give me my money back plus $1,000 for every year that I've had it because it would have cost you that to own it during that time between insurance, storage, whatever, maintenance.
Yep.
And he was actually quite good with that. So yeah, there's a couple little things like the radio actually stopped working. I don't know if it just like popped a fuse or the Dubai heat got to it or something, but so I don't know. I'm on the fence.
Is it a Canadian truck?
No, it's a US truck. I got it out of Houston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Many miles on it?
52,000.
Okay.
I
Hmm.
bought it with I think it was at 30 or 33. So I've actually put over 20,000 miles. Like, dude, when I first got it, like when it got, as I sold my Lightning when I got to Dubai, and then I took that money when I came here for the holidays, and I bought the Viper truck and sent it over there. And yeah, man, like I drove that truck literally everywhere. Like it was that and the M5. And then it was even the M5. I bought that car with, I think it was 108,000 kilometers. And I think it's a like 156 now.
Right.
So I've almost put 50,000 kilometers on that M5. But like, dude, there was always lots of really big drives. Like it'd be like 3, 4 hour one-way cruises. Like you're driving around for, days. Plus you're like exploring. And it's funny, like the shot to Abu Dhabi was only an hour and a half. But when you're doing 100+ mile an hour for that hour and a
Yeah.
half, you're actually putting on way more miles than you think you are.
Yeah, true, hey. Huh. Yeah, I don't think I've ever ridden in a Viper truck.
Yeah, they're weird, man. Like it's don't get me wrong, like the torque and the power is there, but like the weight and the characteristics of a truck are it's not like like the Lightning to me literally feels like a car compared to the Viper truck.
Right. Hmm. I was actually kind of thinking that today. I was kind of stuck in traffic with a TRX, which for all intents and purposes is, a pretty impressive pickup. But I believe like it was kind of Dodge's, much like the Lightning and the Viper truck, it was kind of like Dodge's way of going, hey, we're going to get into this like Ford Raptor realm of things. But don't, I think the same thing applies, right? Like much like the Lightning and the Viper truck, the TRX just really doesn't hold a candle to the Lightning. Now, does it do some things actually very similar to the Viper truck and the Lightning? Like, does it go like a bat out of hell in a straight line? Yeah. But does it corner? Does it, well, in the TRX and Raptor scenario, can you jump it? Like, that's
Yeah.
kind of Raptor's thing. Like it from the factory, this thing's got whatever, a 12-inch jump stat, you know? Um,
Yeah.
so it's almost like, yeah, they went like 3/4 the way to the finish line with it, but didn't go as far as Ford did.
Well, I think Ford just kind of got lucky because if you think about it, Lightning's just an F-150 chassis with nothing. They upped the So what is it? I think the axle is technically out of a 250 versus a 150 or some shit, or the brakes. I forget what they did. Um, and they just put a supercharged 5.4 in it. And then same thing, a Ram 1500, and they just said, okay, let's just put the Viper drivetrain in it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're just comparing, I guess if you were to just take a regular F-150 of that era and compare it to a Ram 1500 of that era, I'd be curious to know if the difference is that much different, all in the same. Because if it is, like, the Dodge is a more well put together vehicle. Like the um less rattles, like it feels like there's more amenities or like luxury to the cab, I feel. Um Power's power, of course, but yeah, like you're not getting the cornering and all of that stuff out of the Ram. It has phenomenal brakes, I'll give it that, but like it's like you're driving a really fast fucking lazy boy is the best
Hmm.
way that I could describe the Viper truck over the Lightning. And then if you
Really,
get the
hey?
quad cab Viper truck, like I've only driven one of those once, and I'm like, man, this is gross because that was automatic as well.
Right.
So you just got this big fucking truck that it probably just feel like driving a diesel.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, for a sport truck, that's not really, I think, what a person pictures in their mind, right?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, so I've never ridden in one. I mean, I think it's safe to assume, right? Like in a straight line, the Viper truck's got the Lightning hands down, hey?
No, they're this like the same.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I want to say, I think for whatever, I could be wrong with this. I want to say the regular cab manual Viper truck, like maybe like what would it be? Like if it ran like a 12.5, if the Lightning was a 12.5, then maybe the Ram was like a 12.49.
Is that
You know what
right,
I mean?
hey?
Like it was so minimal, the difference.
Huh. Do you know off the top of your head? We should look some of this shit up. What's the weight difference in the two?
It's got to be a lot. And like you're turning, the Lightning had 18-inch wheels, the Rams on 22s. Um, the Ram was a much more expensive truck compared to the Lightning too, I believe.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, what year's that truck?
Oh, 04.
Okay. How fast is the 2004 Viper truck in the quarter mile? Man, I would have just assumed it was way quicker. Not way, but okay, it's saying quarter mile is 13.6. I guess we could do the same 2004. Because that was the last year of the Lightning, right?
Yeah.
Or Lightning in a quarter mile.
An interesting fact
Or-
when we're talking about power as well versus weight. So the Lightning was 400 horse, the Viper truck's 500 horse. The Viper truck's got an
yeah.
extra 100 horsepower.
Okay, so it's saying stock performance unmodified 13.6 to 13.9.
Oh, okay. So it's 3/10.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. On a good day, they're both 13.6, right?
Yeah.
Um, what's this? Real world track results. Other somebody claims to that thing's got to be souped up. They're saying uh slightly tuned and better tires ran a 987. Right.
Slightly.
Yeah, somebody's lying on their modifications. Okay, what are the weight of the two? there's got to be a staggering difference to make that up, right? Like, dude, it's not much. Oh no, wait a minute. Sorry. Okay. Regular cab Ram SRT 10, 5100. Quad cabs 5600. Uh, 4700. So 500 pounds lighter.
Damn.
100 horse changes things. There's some different, and they're both pickups.
I think that
Like how much difference?
aerodynamics, well, the wheels, right? So turning those 22s, and then probably the aerodynamics of the Viper truck isn't helping it much either. I feel like the aero of the F-150 or the Lightning would be a bit better.
That's true. Springed rear diffs, right? Like it's not like the Ford's got some fancy link in it or something.
No.
Huh.
I don't know. Well,
Crazy.
could be, or maybe just the way that, like, what would be the difference if the Lightning had been a manual?
Yeah. Yeah, because the transmission's kind of a, like, what is that thing? Like a 3-speed overdrive?
Yeah, 4R100.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
your kids must be starting to stream Stranger Things.
Glitchy.
Yeah, you're starting to go a little blurry.
Are you aware of anyone that's ever put a stick in a Lightning?
Yeah, it was done. Shit, I forget what the name of the guy was. One of the first guys to do it, and of course, tuning was a big thing back then of trying to get the drivability right. Because like the pedal and all that stuff wasn't a big deal because F-150s there was manual options for them. I want to say his name was something like SVT Banshee or something like that. Um, like now it's no big deal if that's what you want to do. But funny enough, I was looking at Marketplace the other day at Viper trucks just for like current market values and whatnot. And I saw a regular cab automatic, which never existed. So somebody actually took like all the automatic shit probably out of a quad cab and stuck it in a regular cab.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, so that I'd be curious to know how that would have performed in the smaller, the lighter body as an automatic. So that would have been the truck to run against the Lightning to really get an idea of
How it would
actually
perform.
see what did the quad cab do in the quarter?
Does it say here? It don't, for compare, slower the strip Viper car. No, it only, I'll have to ask it here. It's saying funny enough, it says like the Viper car. So this would have been what do they call that? The SR. What was the Viper
Well, they're
in
both
that year?
SRT-10s, but one's the Ram and
Truck,
yeah, the other one would just be
right.
the
Well, but then what was the bigger Viper car? Like there was, because that was the original one with like the side pipes and stuff, right? And then they went with the exhaust out the back. And did they just
okay,
call that the Viper?
I think so. Or wasn't there like a GT something there was,
GTS or G?
yeah, something like that.
Right. Okay.
Our boy
Uh,
Josh should have the answer to that.
yeah, because his is one of the ones we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what the quad cab did. Ooh, 14.2. Just a dog. Huh. Kind of crazy to think like damn near stock Foxbody would have given that thing a run for its money.
Yeah, 500 horse versus 225.
Yeah. Right? Shit. And I mean, yeah, they came in, well, they were only 500 pounds more, 5,600 pounds. So a couple thousand pounds more than a GT vert,
Yep.
you know? Fuck, that's wild. Um, shit, sorry, buddy. What did you ask me before that? You brought something up about the Viper car. Maybe it was just before that.
I don't recall. No, because I just said I didn't know about the name.
Right. Huh, lost it. Um, I can't help but think like, would it even be worth it to like kind of, well, I guess guys kind of are making like their own version of the Lightning these days, right? With the regular cab Coyote trucks and then some, right?
Yeah.
Fuck, I rode in that one of your neighbors, that quad cab. I was going to lose my life that day. Not because of the driving, just I literally felt like my soul was exiting my body. The truck's so fucking fast. But I don't like because I actually do really like the subtle look of the Lightning, like even with the step side box and everything. It was just such a nice slight step side. I don't know, that whole body really pulled together well, I think.
Yeah. No, there was something, especially, I don't know, man, that front bumper with the fog
Yeah.
lights. Like they just, whoever was behind the design of that really did a fantastic job. And, rightfully so. Even the SRT 10, right? Like you take both those trucks and like you look at them and you wouldn't think they're over 20 years old.
No. No, God, no. They've held up well, right?
Yeah.
I can't help but think, because you think like oh 03, oh 04. Mind you, did the fog light like lower valence area change over the years of the Lightning? Like the earlier ones? Was it always that round fog light?
Yeah. So the only thing on the outside that changed, so 99 didn't have body colored mirrors. Um, then 2000, they did. 2001 to '04, the only differences would have been turn signals integrated into the mirror and like the third brake light and they went to like the Altezza fucking
Tail
Euro
light.
style taillights. And of course there was some wheel changes throughout the years as well, but otherwise like everything body related is all the same and all interchangeable.
Hmm. Yeah, because I mean, you can't help but think like the 03, oh 04 Termies, very similar front end style, right? With that really subtle round lower fog light, that really stocky, wide, low looking valance. Um, I don't know. I mean, you got to think it was a similar design team on the two, right?
Yeah,
Well, and granted, they're all part of the SVT family, so that wouldn't be too much of a stretch to think, right?
true.
Um, yeah, those were some for sure some timeless, some special years that will be timeless. You know, I can't help but think even like 20 years from now, like that, the look of a Terminator is still going to turn heads. Even in stock format, same thing for the Lightning.
Yeah. Well, and that was, yeah, right at like the Fast and Furious eras of things, right? So it was just like a simplified, integrated approach in terms of the designing of those vehicles, but like just enough to like, again, you take a regular F-150 step side next to a Lightning and you just be like, oh my God, it's like taking an Escort, parking it next to, a GT
Yeah,
Fox. Um, yeah, it's amazing what just those few little things do, right? Wheels, stance, a little bit of lip kit.
yeah. It's funny though, right? Because at the time, when you think of like just the regular F-150, they would have had more of a horizontal kind of cat eye fog light in the more like XLT or Lariat versions of the half-ton trucks. Same thing with the Mustangs, right? They were kind of a more of a slit style lower fog light. And even like body kit design at the time too, right? Everything was kind of that really sharp, sort of slitty type stuff. And then you
Yeah.
get these two vehicles that are like, yeah, we're gonna run round fogs.
Actually, what year was the those Contour SVTs?
Mm. Uh oh shit. We should both know this because it's the fans everybody likes to use, right? But I want to say it was 97 to 04.
Yeah, see, like that's
Um,
that whoever the design team was during that whole era fucking nailed it.
yeah. Let's look that up. What year the SVT Ford Contours made? Maybe it was 98. 98 to 2000.
Huh.
Is it just 2-year run or 3-year run, whatever you want to call that? Huh. 200 no. 195 horse in 98, 200 horse in 2000.
Ooh.
Really stepped it up, yeah. Put an underdrive pulley on her and a K&N.
Yeah. K&N, bruh.
Um, yeah, that's true, right? Because yeah, Ford made a four-door car look pretty cool, you know? I know there's folks out there, whatever, we kind of started this pod off griping about people not keeping their opinions themselves. So this isn't directed at anybody, but um, I was never a big fan of like the predecessor of that, like the SHO Taurus was, you know what I mean? It just didn't really too boxy, which sounds funny coming like sounds hypocritical because here's a podcast about the boxy Mustangs, right? But that next gen where they did go a little bubblier, um, yeah, like that's not a terrible looking car at all,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know? And then even getting into like remember the Lincoln um shit, they would have probably like been in the same class as like an M5 at the time. Um what year would that be? I can see them in my head. Must have been around that oh 02 to oh no, maybe it was even before that. It would have been this same kind of time period, 98 to 2000. There was a good looking Lincoln. I don't know what they would have called it though. Like an MK something.
Hmm.
Or maybe it was fuck. This is when people are beating their steering wheels. Uh let's see what that Lincoln was. Let's go 2000 Lincoln. Oh God, that's definitely not what I'm thinking. This is in the boats, like the town car. Oh, Lincoln LS. Do you remember these?
I think I do. What year?
2000. This one's showing me a Lincoln LS. I want to say that there was like maybe a little bit of a sportier version, like had a nicer wheel on it or something.
Sort of like a predecessor to the CTSV or something.
Um, Here, have you pulled one up?
Yeah, it's kind of I know that car, but I think there is one that looks better than that.
Yeah, there was like I want to say there was one with a nicer wheel option or something on it. Ooh, here's one somebody souped up with a bigger set of wheels. But yeah, they were kind of that same era, right? Hell, it's almost got maybe a little bit of a BMW look to it. Just with that bigger Lincoln kind of make a statement style grill.
Yeah.
But same kind of flair, right? Like a little bit of black in the housing of the headlights and, just kind of your round chrome light area. Yeah, I don't know. There was something going on there for sure. I think that the designers were, I don't know, maybe microdosing in their cereal and coming up with cool designs.
Well, hey,
The town.
KBB says you get a current resale value of $1,100 on your 2000 Lincoln LS. So get yours now.
Oh, wow. So they didn't hold money.
No.
Jesus. Yeah, those town cars, they're quite the boat. Or the Marauder, right? Here's another one, blast from the
Yeah,
past of that
Marauders are
era.
pretty cool. Yeah, especially when they're
Mhm.
they're all blacked out. They look pretty good.
I can't help but think most of those must have made their way into collectors or, you know, collectors collections and shit, right? Because you sure don't see very many of them.
All that are scrapped.
Do you think?
I don't know. It was a Mercury, dude. Like, how many people buy a Mercury and, like, I don't know, sort of,
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd sort of be in like that Grand National post. Like, I think it was sort of like you were buying that thinking that it was like the next Grand National or something, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to picture
Or like
like who
Monte
the
Carlo or something, like I'm trying to think of what the competition equivalent.
would have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm I'm trying to picture like in my mind what that sort of cartoon image of the buyer would have been. I'm kind of thinking like, you know, old boy, maybe a farmer, you know, um, probably always had some sort of a Lincoln car, right? And then the Mercury Marauder rolls out and it's like, well, this would be kind of cool to go to church in on Sunday, right? Because they came with was it a 5.4?
Yeah, maybe. Just like I'd
Marauder.
be curious to know like what Mercury's agenda or what their demograph was. Cause like I'm gonna be honest, dude, and this might piss some people off that are listening. I cannot get behind a Capri.
No, not your thing.
Like I can get behind pre-bubble back, but the bubble back and sorry, Brent, just I cannot. There's just something that just does not go well. I don't know.
Can't
Like
warm up, right?
it literally looks like a Dodge Daytona.
Geez, actually, that's a pretty good comparison. Hey, yeah. Huh. I forgot about those Dodge Daytonas.
Yeah.
Okay, just before we get too far away from things, it was a 4.6, 32 valve 4.6.
Okay. So it would have
Yeah.
been like a Mustang motor.
Yep. Production years was 0304, right? Something was going on in those years, man. Like,
The
I don't know if they had
SVT, they
bigger
had big
budget.
budgets back then. Probably
Yeah.
is Fast and Furious, horsepower coming back. Stuff's got to look cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
It was kind of
Um,
that transition point too of like better sound systems and bigger wheels. Like at that point, it was like probably 18-inch was more a norm. You were getting factory pre-installed subwoofers. Like in fact, that's probably the era that started killing a lot of the like
aftermarket
legitimate
stereo.
aftermarket stuff world.
Yeah. Yeah, the Mach 460 sound systems and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been right in the heart of it for sure. Um, yeah, so they said Basically a high performance version of the Grand Marquis aimed at the muscle sedan fans. Geez, that's not two words you hear in the same sentence very often. Minor mods, gears, tune, exhaust, marauders wake up pretty quick. Yeah, because you sure don't see him around. There was a guy I want to say on YouTube that might have like, you know, bought one or you know had some sentimental value to it, and I want to say, you know, made it a bit of a whatever force to be reckoned with. But yeah, you just don't see him around at all. Because like, well, hell, those could go to Motor City Fox Fest, could they not?
I guess. I don't know what the underside of those are.
Let's see if this thing knows.
Bill Butler's cursing you right now.
Fox chassis. Oh, geez. Oh, it wasn't. Okay, sorry. Delete. Control Alt Delete. Fuck, I'm gonna take a lot of shit for that one. No, it was not. That platform. Oh, Ford Panther platform. Shared amongst Crown Vic, Grand Marquis, and Lincoln Town Car.
Oh, there
Panther
you go.
and Fox. Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Right.
By the way, do you have the ability, the 3D printing for those? The
Maybe.
gauge, the AC vent gauge holder?
I've never printed one.
Because I needed another one. So I went to check out your boy's Etsy and said no longer available. And then whatever, I just did some Googling and there was another dude on Etsy that had them for $20.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, man, that's like a third of the price of the other dude. So I was kind of happy at that point that I found it. But yeah, it looks all right. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, a little sand and a little primer and they smooth right out, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're
Hit it
not in
with some
a
interior paint.
yeah, totally. They're not in a high traffic area where you really got to worry about them, like, you know, getting all
Well, no, and
banged
once
up
the
and stuff.
gauge is in there, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, set it and forget it.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of dying, we can do a little exercise here. I've got a sample.
Oh. I'm wondering if this is that great big paint order that he made. I guess it would have been in and around the last time we were on with you guys. But yeah, I think, weren't you saying you spent like, how much was it?
Like 800. All right. So
Okay.
I present to you first a dirty white on opal door panel.
Okay.
And then I present to you an all opal door panel.
Okay.
Because you know where I'm going. I want something that's lighter than how dark these Foxbody interiors are.
Yeah.
Now I present to you Ford Dove Gray.
Ooh.
Now
That's not bad.
When you just look at that on its own, you'd be like, oh man, that's opal. But no, that's opal.
That's a big contrast.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So in person, it's pretty light. I actually wish it was even a little lighter.
It's almost like, what did they call it? Dove?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd almost call that like a slate or something.
Because yeah, part of me was like, screw it. I'm going to do a white interior. Like white and gray. Since I already have some of it right here.
Right. Yeah, that's a big difference. Holy. So where do you see Dove come up as an interior color?
I tried to do some Googling and I think it was like a 90s like mid 90s thing, but like it wasn't, and I don't know if it's like Color Bond's name for it
Hmm.
versus, Ford's actual name. So I'll tell you this, it's hard to find like really light colors unless they're like in the beige realm of things. There was another one that was called like light flint and something nickel, like that were Ford colors, but they were actually sold out. So I tried this Dove Gray one, and I think I could make it work. I don't want it to be mistaken at the same time where someone's just like, "Oh, it's a really clean opal," but
Right.
like you
You want
don't
to,
really notice it unless you got opal next to it, type deal.
yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, you don't want it to be like bang in your face drastic, but you don't want it to like blend and not look like it's been considered and changed.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if I maybe I'll remove that map pocket section that got ripped off the bottom and I'll stick it on the white door panel. And then see if I do my own like white and gray combo or something, like where, because Ford, it was like things were more white than they were gray, or more white than they were red or blue, or whatever contrasting they were doing. So I'm wondering if I go the other way and just have like some white. But yeah, it's like interior decorating, man, or like,
Yeah.
painting a house. Like it's actually quite involved when you're trying to pick stuff and make stuff go together.
Have you ever seen Tom Clark's coupe in person?
Yep.
Okay, because I've always been curious how that, I mean, that brown that he did looks unreal in photos.
Yeah, no, it looks really good. Well, it kind of reminds me of what you call it. Like well, I think Ken sort of maybe got inspired by that, right? Cuz Ken went with the kind of that colorish, that tan colored in his seats. And I think he ended up doing them in his door panels and stuff. So like Ken's interior is almost like the reverse of Tom's. Like kind of
More
how I
black.
was saying. Yeah, so there's more black with the tan versus Tom's was like more tan than there was black.
Right. Yeah, because his, I'm trying to picture now. Like, did Tom left like the backside of the dash and everything all black, right?
I
But
think so.
like,
But the
yeah,
pad and the like whatever would
right,
be a normal color, all that went to tan.
right. Yeah, it would kind of be like whatever. My vert, all the red is brown and all the
Or it'd be like
whatever.
saddle or whatever the official name for that color is.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen that car in person, so I don't know, because that's the thing, right? Photos are better than video for sure. Video plays tricks on your eyes, right? What was
Yeah.
it that we were just talking about? Um, oh, I know how low the vert your stalker car is. Um, yeah, it just plays tricks on your eyes, right? Especially
Yeah.
when you're talking colors. But yeah, I don't know. That brown looks super cool. Especially with that seat combo he did and everything too. I don't know. I think we both agree that Tom's got an eye for cool shit and a neat kind of background flare, right? With his V dub sort of infused stuff that he does. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the reality would be like for the Cobra that the with the red, like a tan could do quite well,
Yeah.
like as a contrast. But man, I can't do that color. I've never wanted it in a BMW, nor would I ever want it in a Fox. It's fine
Right.
when other people do it, just I don't want to do it. Like I don't have the attire to like wear to go with that interior, I think is my problem. Like I do not have
Right.
khakis or like those earthy tones to go with
Pull it
it.
off.
I need something that like this gray of my hat is, it needs to go with it. you know.
Right. Is that a gray lid? Because it almost looks green a bit
It's actually,
through the
you
camera.
know what? It's dirty. It's like brown gray now, but it probably has like a little bit of green in it.
Right.
Yeah, she's filthy.
Yeah, because well, maybe not in that color car. Like maybe you could pull something like that off in like a gray car if you wanted to do like a color change like Tom had done, like Sinus built.
Yeah.
Not in a red car. Now you're talking like you're running into like Christmas colors, right? If you get any
Uh,
indication that there's green in it on a red car, not good.
oh,
But yeah, you could
yeah.
probably pull it off in a gray. Something like War Admiral, right? Like that kind of gray.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, the interior, the color that I want is the same, like the Silverstone that's in my M5. If I could
Right,
somehow buy that color and maybe like I just have to get it mixed, um, like that is the ideal if I could have my way.
right. Are you I think I asked you this last time, but like now we're a week and a bit beyond that. Are you still thinking there's a possibility this car could be done in the next couple of months?
Um, it probably could be, but I'm kind of I had a very long, well, not long, but strategic conversation with Mr. K Designs the other day because he dropped his car off to me to get a couple things done. And I was telling him some of my ideas that I wanted, outfitted in the back. And um, there's actually, you've probably seen it, the guy that's got I think it's an iPad in his center console, and he's got the joystick. Um, that controls it, but his
Oh,
climate controls are like you got to pull the fucking pad out to get to the climate controls.
yep.
So my understanding is that you can control vintage air controls off of an app.
Oh,
So I'm gonna I might be going down to San Antonio next week. So if I do, I told Rick that I would pop into vintage air and get a free AC tour. And yeah, I want to validate if there's an option for that because that'd be sweet to like build something like I do an Android screen, not an Apple one. And then if that could control climate controls, that'd be good. And then yeah, then we came up with all these crazy ideas for the hatch area and stuff. And I'm like, that's all going to take time. So
yeah.
um I could do like a whole in construction thing if I wanted to, but I don't know. I'm not going to let it bother me. Like I don't want the build to bleed in like into like next year or something. Like I definitely want the car to be like running, like driving, being able to do all the things, but just get like the finishing touches done to it type
Right.
deal. But we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a way that's not too difficult to try to make that whole iPad thing a reality. Cause I mean, it is a digital controller. Um, you might just need to run some sort of like, I don't know, wired and or wireless module
Yeah, you
that
just need something like an IO switch interface that could, interact with it and control it from there. Cause I think that'd be pretty sweet. And then like I'm trying to figure out, actually Keith has got his dash leather wrapped, like an extra dash that he had, because I need to do his heater core and his evaporator core. And I didn't get a chance to look at it very closely, but I'm like kind of like, oh, I don't want to go down that route and try and get some stuff wrapped, which could solve half my battle versus now I just got to find the type of material I want instead of trying to find the color of paint I want.
So
Um,
what's he got wrapped? Like the bezel? Like the speedo
oh, the
bezel?
actual dash. So like the dash assembly with the dash pad, and he doesn't have the cluster cover wrapped yet, but everything else is done and like kind of
Hmm.
stitched like down around the contour of the sides and stuff.
Does it pull off pretty good?
Like I said, I didn't look too close at it. Like it did, from what I saw, it looked like it was pulling it off quite well.
Huh. I don't think I've ever seen that um done before. So then what, that would all wrap in, but it would still run like a plastic defrost vent in it?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. And what color? Black?
Yes.
Okay. So you could almost look right past it and not even know it was done, but
Until you
just a
see
little
like the stitching on the outline. You know what I mean? Like
right.
that's what kind of makes it cool. Because
Did he
so
do it?
what's that?
Did he do it?
No, he's got some guy in Waco area. So I want to kind of scope out his quality of work. Um, and then if it looks good on that stuff, then maybe I'll consider doing some of that. Maybe not all the pieces. Like, I look at my M5 at like what's leather wrapped versus what's plastic trim and everything else. Like usually as long as every type of material is its own color, then you're usually pretty good.
Right.
But don't have like some stuff in black leather wrap and then some stuff that's just painted plastic and black. Like make all the black stuff leather, or make all the titanium trim and titanium, or like
Yeah.
the look titanium. Um, so yeah, I don't know, lots to think about for sure.
Hmm. Yeah. So with that said, then maybe take it slow and piece it together the way you want to, and whatever. You can't rush perfection.
uh yeah, there'll be a lot to be able to come together quite quickly, which is nice, but it's all the detail stuff is the stuff that takes forever.
Yeah.
And it's like the in and out and in and out, and I don't know, we'll see.
Hmm. Okay. So maybe no pits. Well, I'm sure everybody, I think based on the shit you've released about it and talked about, right? Everybody's looking forward to seeing what this thing's going to be like. But there's more shows later in the year or whatever. Maybe it's the year after.
I'll make, like, as long as, and man, they were painting the fenders today, which means the body itself. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't knock it out this weekend. So that'll mean the car is painted. And he did like all in the wheel well, like all the inner wheel well stuff has all been done in black, which looks really good. Like the contrast between that black and that red actually is impressive. Um, and yeah, actually, I got to follow up on my wheels to see where they're at. And then the rest of my supporting stuff is ready to be shipped, I'm told.
Nice.
Yeah. I
That's
was hoping
exciting
for a
stuff.
picture so I could have sent it to you, but I didn't get one.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
probably not a cheap shipment, hey?
No, it is a dedicated truck and $1,650.
Oh, like you're into car shipping territory there.
Well, dude, part of me was like, do I just go up, grab
Yeah.
that motherfucker myself? At that point, and I'm like, I'm not, especially with the weather and everything else that's going on right now. I'm like, I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, true. Hey. Where
And
are
then
they out of?
I think like,
Ohio or something?
yeah, Ohio or Illinois, or they're somewhere north.
Right.
So, and then the ironic part of this is like, I think my other Cobra is going to be ready here any day now. And then Spike has almost got my 4i done too. So I have a feeling I'm going to have an influx of freshly painted cars to deal with.
Wowzers.
Everything happens in threes. So yeah, I need some help. Apply
Totally.
within. Yeah.
Yeah. Hit the website up. Nice. Okay, buddy. Well, yeah, let's maybe leave this one here. You got to try to remember what you were going to tell me about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Okay.
Secret. Top secret.
Yeah. Okay, folks. Have yourselves a great week. And thanks for all your support. Like and subscribe.